Today's social media segment is brought to you by Terrebonne General Health System. Your health is our legacy. Rouse's, you're either local or you're not. Buick, the craft of modern luxury. St. Martin and Bork, know your rights.
Bayou Time Sports is brought to you by Terrebonne General Health Systems Community Sports Institute in conjunction with Barker Honda.
Mike Detillier here for HTV. I'm with Pete Jenkins, the legendary line coach himself, the man, greatest defensive line coach ever. That's EVER. Pete is the record breaker this year, 775, man. You got to think about it. You guys started less than 50, and now in this sleepy little town of Thibodaux, you got 775 young men. Man, you got to be proud of this.
I am, Mike. Thank you for the kind words, too. Hey, let me tell you, I can't tell you, I really am proud. And when I look out here and see this going on, you know, here's the thing. We're helping these kids to try to achieve a goal, which is be a better high school football player. And not recruiting or it ain't nothing about that. It's just about teaching kids skills involved in football. I am very proud that the camp has grown like it has. It also surprises me, to be honest with you. Never had any idea that it would be anything like this and everything, but I am very proud and happy. Proud of these coaches that come down here and work too. I am.
Yeah, you're not in Tahiti. We fighting the weather like it is this time of year. Sometimes you get a really nice 3 or 4 days, and then other times you get it like this. You got a little depression or a hurricane or whatever in the Gulf. But we fighting and doing it well, and you prepared for it.
Yeah, and Nicholls has grown and added such great facilities. I mean, it's a different place, of course, than it was 10 years ago. And they really upgraded. It's nice here on this campus. And we're better equipped to handle inclement weather now than we ever were. And so, you know, that makes you feel good, because what we want to have every day is a quality learning experience for the kids. And so we got the facilities that we can do that.
The technical part of the game for linemen, while everything else has changed, 3 wide receivers, flex tight end, throwing it out your shotgun, you got nickel dime, all this other stuff. Line play stays the same.
It does. You know, you and I have often talked about it. You know, there's 5 offensive linemen in that box, and you got those same gaps. And in the running game, the offensive lineman got to move the defensive lineman around. And on defense, conversely, we got to protect those gaps. Us and the inside backers, we got to protect those gaps. And so the box in this game, everything's changed. But inside that box, it is the same game that it always has been. And so, yeah, the skills that we teach them are to equip them for that. So, yeah, I think that's why I'm still relevant, to tell you the truth, as an old guy, is because the box didn't ever change.
Okay, relevant. Tell everybody where you've been for the last couple of months, the different schools that brought you in to help defensive line.
Well, you know, I'm honored. I'm really honored, and I'm not saying that loosely. I'm really honored that people would hire me to come in and help with their defense and things like that. You know, I didn't ever plan to do that, to be honest with you, Mike. Tommy Moffitt called me and said, "How did you get in that consulting business?" And I said, "Tommy, I'm just going to give you a 2-word answer. Nick Saban." When he started hiring me to come back, other people like Jimbo Fisher, okay, he was on that staff, and we were together on the staff. He started hiring me, and then Will Muschamp, and he started hiring me, and then Mark Stoops was the coordinator for Jimbo, and he got the head job at Kentucky, and he started hiring me. Bob Stoops was his brother at Oklahoma, and he started hiring me. It really, I don't advertise, Mike, anything.
And then also Dan at Oregon.
At Oregon. I've been to Oregon the last 2 years, which ain't a fun trip, to tell you the truth. Being there is fun.
Yeah, the weather's, come on, Pete. You can't complain about that weather.
Listen, Mike, we were at spring practice, and that morning it was 31 degrees on the field. I said, hey, look, this is spring ball. We got 31 degrees out here. I'm freezing. But anyways, I've been to Alabama and Georgia and Oregon, and I've been to 40-something schools. Michigan, I've been to Texas, I've been to Oklahoma, Southern Cal, UCLA. I've been lucky enough to get hired by a lot of really good programs, and it was just my honor and pleasure to get to go and work with. And when I say I go, it's 5 days. So this year I worked 7 schools. That's 35 nights in a hotel. So I don't know how long I'll be. People ask me all the time, how long are you going to do this camp? How long are you going to do it? I'm going to do it until I can't do it. I don't have an answer. I'm going to do it until I can't do it anymore. And hopefully I'm in the fourth quarter here and I get some overtime.
One last question. What would the SEC look like without Nick Saban?
I just been funny because I spent 5 days over there and people ask me about it a lot. What was it like without him? And I tell them, I said, now look, let me define this first of all. Different doesn't necessarily mean bad. But it was different. It was different.
Imagine.
It was different. We were sitting in a meeting one day, and some young coaches down the hallway there, and they were the radio was playing, and they were making noise like young guys will do. Wasn't bad or anything, but the coach looked at me and he said, "If he was here," I said, "No way, ain't no way them guys would be down there jumping and jiving and making all that noise." It was really different without having him. And to tell you the truth, he ain't for everybody, and it's like,
true.
Some people like this to eat and some people don't like that to eat. I mean, he ain't for everybody, but his method and the way he approached things and everything has been a model for me my whole life. If I'd had a chance to be around the man earlier in my career, I'd have been a better football coach. Because I'm going to tell you, Mike, he makes people that are around him, he makes them better football coaches. And he certainly made me a better football coach. So I'm very appreciative of Coach Saban.
I told you the Saints picked Kool-Aid McKinstry in round 2, okay? So I asked him, what was it to be around Nick Saban? He said, well, he was in every practice, and I'm going to tell you he did 3 things. 1, he taught you technique every day in practice. Secondly, he was somebody who stressed fundamental work every day and quality work. And he said, thirdly, he jumped you behind every time you were in that meeting room. And you said, that was what he was with me as a coach.
Yeah, that's a great description of how I found him, too, to tell you the truth. But, I think the game misses him. We've missed Coach Bryant over the years, And I think we're really going to miss Coach Saban. Here's the thing, though, Mike, and I'm trying to make this brief because I know you need to move, but he did things right. He insisted and he held people accountable of doing things right, doing it the right way. Do your job. Do it the right way. And we need more of that in the world, man.
With you.
And I've made the statement before, about him. If he was a president of Ford Motor Company, it'd be a damn better car. If he's president of the United States, we'd have a better country, because he is all about doing it the right way and doing it to the best of your ability each and every time. And you're held accountable as a coach, and you're held accountable as a player. I miss him, Mike. I really do. I miss him.
Coach, thanks so much for joining us. Really appreciate it, and can't tell you how much you mean to this area, how much you mean to me as a person. And but you've been such a big part of the growth here at the Louisiana Line Camp.
Well, thank you, and I love South Louisiana. I made Baton Rouge. I kept a house in Baton Rouge, luckily, because little did I know I'd be back 4 times. My dream was to coach at LSU. Beyond my dreams, to coach at LSU 4 different times.
And no one else has ever done that. Pete, thanks so much, buddy.
Thanks a lot.
Jim Gator Generators Power Systems is the area's leading Kohler standby generator solutions, specializing in maintenance, repair, and installation on all major brands, from gas to diesel and 2kW to 2000. Home or commercial, our team has you covered. Our factory-certified technicians and installers are highly trained to provide response and repair when you need it the most. We service what we sell, period. Trust the Gen Gators, where we sink our teeth into service.
Bayou Time Sports is brought to you by Terrebonne General Health Systems Community Sports Institute in conjunction with Barker Honda.
I'd like to tell you here at the Louisiana line camp with the man himself, another legend here, Don Roderick. Coach Rod is the record breaker this year, 775. We're talking to Pete Jenkins, and man, he was saying 40-something kids here in year one, and now you see 775. Great growth of the Louisiana line camp, and so many kids. I talked to one young man, it was his first year. He's like, I want to come back next year. I'm looking forward to it. I said, well, okay, this is a Monday. You got a few more practices. He was like, no, I want to come back. I enjoy it so much. This isn't a recruiting camp, but it's great to learn the fundamental part of the game, something you coach for over 40 years.
Yes, but last year we had 680. Why did we jump almost 100 again? And it's the word of mouth. Of course, we do some marketing and we give it to the coaches and everything. But we had to close the online registration because we got a quota, and they keep calling and they keep begging, and I forgot, and they give us all kind of crazy stories. I mean, one of our high schools out of Baton Rouge, he knows about it. He coached the camp. He didn't turn in it. I had to put 15 guys in, And Randy Brown, the computer, he made it work. And I says, Randy, we can't handle 15. Yeah, we did. But the growth of the camp is when you have a good product and it works, people hear about it, they're coming back. And that's the secret, because the kids go back home and go back to their school, and they're better football players. And basically, that's what's the mission of the statement. Take your skills, sharpen them up, go back to your high school, be more productive, your team has more success, and the whole community is happy.
Coach, one of the things, too, is the fact you've got some big-name coaches here that have coached in the NFL or are coaching today, but some of the best high school coaches in the country also over here.
I said our biggest asset of the camp is our high school coaches from mostly Louisiana. We have a few from Texas, a few from Mississippi, but and they keep coming back. Why do they keep coming back? Because they know what they're doing here is enhancing the quality of Louisiana football, and they have a craft, they have a skill, and they keep coming back. And some of them, they use it as a motivation to get themselves ready for the fall.
One of the things, too, is the fact that you're not up against, if you're a 9th grader, you're not up against a 12th grader. This is your skill set up against bags and against yourself, between the ears. It's a mental thing when you come to this camp.
Yes, and it's like, some kids here are stars. We don't care if you got plenty stars, no stars, 4-star, or do we have a freshman?
Backup.
Yeah, but we have it might be a freshman that's 5'9", 175, and then the guy next to him is a 4-star athlete that's going to sound Power 5. And the coaches working, they don't care that who's got stars. And I think, and we get phone calls about, well, who's going to be there seeing him? I said, what do you mean? Well, my son's a Power 5 player. Well, sir, you better go to another camp because we don't care what you have. He said, what do you mean? We're not worried about recruiting. We're worried about taking a young man and making him a better football player. That's the quality of the camp. If he comes, he's not going to be treated different.
One of the things I see is a lot of younger guys, I would say 9th, 10th graders that are working here. It's not, you do have some 11, 12 kids going into their senior year, but so many young guys. And I know for you, the development of those young players is key.
I'm going to give one school. St. Aug has never brought one here, one there. Robert Valdez, the new head coach at St. Aug, he's got, I think it's 28 guys. And out of them 28, I'm going to say 18 to 20 are freshmen. And we asked for a T-shirt size. Those guys are 3X, 4X. There ain't no 1X in that book.
And that looks like they in my closet.
But I mean, and so I think the Catholic League better look out if those young men mature, and and of course Robert Valdez being an offensive line coach himself. So I think his team is going to have success in the near future.
One of the things you've seen it where so much changes have happened in the game itself. You running out of the shotgun today, 3 receivers, a flex tight end, 1 running back, nickel dime defense. Line play stays the same.
Yes.
You got to be physical, and you got to learn how to play that position from a technical standpoint.
I'm going to use a term that Coach Joe Clark, who I coach with here at Nicholls, he says, y'all go fiddle around in the line. We got to be on the outside throwing the ball and moving the ball and stuff like that. But it's come so much to be a pass rush game, a protection game. If you're going against a stud edge rusher, you better chip him, you better tight end him, you better bump him to give your quarterback and give that offensive lineman a chance. Because those edge rushers, they're running 4.5 now.
Yeah, I've told this to Coach O before. Man, you can find a star quarterback long before you're going to find a stud rusher.
Yep.
Those guys are hard to find today because you know why? They want to play receiver or tight end.
Nope,
Man, I don't want to play defensive end, outside linebacker.
Yep. So, but he's right. I mean, they just the protection game and the pass rush game is very elite. And it's filtered down with all the 7-on-7. There are no offensive linemen at 7-on-7. So the quarterback, they got a timer. They got to get rid of the quarterback, the ball now, because they know they come with the blitz packages we have today.
It'll be 2nd and 19 or 3rd and 22 if you don't protect.
Yeah.
Coach, thanks so much for everything you do. Always appreciate it. You're a good pal of mine, but
Yes.
you do so much for the community. Can't thank you enough.
It's every year I recharge my batteries too with this. And somebody said, "Well, when you going to quit?" I said, "I don't know. I'm not now. I promise you."
Thank you, Coach.
All right.
Today's social media segment is brought to you by South Louisiana Bank. It's better when we bank together. Waits and Downer, attorneys at law. Terrebonne Ford, built Ford tough.
Bayou Time Sports is brought to you by Terrebonne General Health Systems Community Sports Institute in conjunction with Barker Honda.
I'd like to tell you here at the Louisiana Line Camp for HTV. I'm with Marc Sangy, longtime coach in the area, and now he is the coordinator supervisor of the offensive side of the football at the Louisiana Line Camp. Coach, you see the great growth in this line camp, and we had talked to Pete and Coach Rod about it. It started less than 50, and now to see 775.
Yeah.
Great growth at this camp.
I think it tells you that coaches around Louisiana, really around the country, because we get people from kids from all over the place. I think it tells you that the coaches realize what we're doing here, and they're happy to send their kids to come get training from what I think are the best coaches around, best high school offensive line coaches in the world, I say all the time. But I think coaches have confidence in what we're doing here. It's a safe camp. At the same time, we work them real hard. And we're working on fundamentals all the time. The guys in the pros tell me all the time, the ones that stay for the longest period of time, the ones that you hear their names over and over again because they've been in the league for years, are the ones that marry themselves to fundamentals, and they stick with that. The schemes all take care of themselves, but if you keep fighting through the boredom of fundamentals, you're going to have something good. You're going to be able to play for a long time, and that's what we're teaching here, fundamental football.
Coach, one of the things pretty much a lot of things have changed in the football world, especially on the offensive side of football, with spreading the field out and out the shotgun, 90% of the time. And for some teams, it's almost 100% of the even if they get to the 1 yard line, they're in a shotgun, which don't make any sense to me. But whatever. To see the technical part of the game, to play with leverage and angles and your lower body, offensive, defensive line-wise, and the technique work with your hands. Man, for me, that's right up my alley to see that.
Absolutely. That's never going to change in this game. You know, you've got to have great technique. You've got to have that body leverage. You still got to get under your defender to get him moved. And you still have to run the ball. I tell my kids this all the time. We've got to be able to run the ball when everybody in the stadium knows we're going to run it and where we're going to run it. Even your old grandma or your auntie in the stands knows we got to run the ball to be successful here. And all the good teams that I've been around, you know, it might be able to throw it a little bit, but you rely on that run to win championships. And that's why we spend about 2/3 of the time here on running the ball and that technique. But hopefully that never changes. I don't see it ever changing. I've been doing this for 30 years here at this camp, and all we do is kind of adapt to what's going on in high school football. But it comes back to being able to get that leverage and, you know, the basic fundamentals, hand placement, things like that. And I think kids are smarter these days about it, you know, so you can teach them a little bit more. They're into the game a little bit more because of video games, I guess, and things like that, but they understand that it's a fundamental game, and when they leave here, at least they understand that.
One of the things in scouting for over 35 years for me, and I tell people, you know, the quarterback, you know, he's got to be the man, okay? He's got to be able to quick think, but I think the second hardest position to play out on the field is center.
Yeah.
Man, you think about a rookie center playing in the NFL or an 18-year-old freshman playing in college football, how difficult it is, because you not only got to know what you got to know, but you got to know what everybody else has to know.
It's filtered its way down to high school. You know, I've always put a lot of responsibility on our center. He's got to be a smart kid. He's got to be a technical kid. And there's some things, you know, we see multiple fronts. We see some different things that we got to figure out in a moment's notice. And, you know, I think it's important that you place kids in positions where he'd like to be a mauler there, but he's got to be smart more than anything. He's got to be able to concentrate for a long period of time and then have some leadership responsibility there, too.
The thing, what's the big difference when you first started? It was so much of an emphasis in the running game, but now so much of it is in the passing game for most teams. Some teams still, they're going to stick to the run. We see John Curtis, they throw the football a little bit, but they predominantly are a run-oriented team. What's the difference from teaching these younger players about pass protection that's different from maybe years ago when there was so much of an emphasis on running the ball?
So it's offensive linemen in high school are normally at a big disadvantage with regard to pass protection because they're not as athletic as the guys across from them. You know, we see some really athletic people on the other side of the football that do things naturally that we have to be perfect on with regard to our protection. So we try to stay away from, I know I do, and I think most coaches do, try to stay away from that one-on-one matchup against that big athlete. In fact, try to put two guys on the best pass rusher type guy. And we add some run concepts into that where, since we're running the ball so much, when we have to throw it, if we've added that understanding of run leverage, we can build it into protection. So we're kind of cheating on that a little bit, but it's just such a disadvantage when you got that kind of situation. But again, if you look at those teams over and over again, you mentioned John Curtis, the ones that win championships over and over and over again, they'll throw the ball well, but they live and die with the run. When they're going back to something that's their bread and butter, and they're going to make it work against whatever fronts they see.
Coach, thanks so much for joining us. Really appreciate it. You know, we can't control the weather, but we've been lucky so far.
Oh, you're not kidding. It's not bad.
Man, we feel that breeze. It's overcast.
Yep.
Man, we've come out here some days. It's oppressively hot.
We have been lucky where we haven't had that one really, really crazy, heavy practice where the heat's just made a big difference. But our guys are responding well. Our coaches are doing, you know, I wish everybody could come out and see this because I come out here and I kind of, me and a couple other guys, Kevin Wiley, Rousseau, we kind of coach the coaches, but we also come out here and we listen to what these guys are doing, how they're saying things a little bit differently. I learn something every day out here. I really wish more people could see what we're doing here. This is really a a fantastic camp. And if we can beat it with the weather, man, I'll take that any day.
For Monday, they got some pep in the step. I don't normally see that, Coach.
They should do after 2 days of us getting on them, too. So I'm about to congratulate them in a few minutes on a great morning practice.
Thanks so much, Coach.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, Mike. Thanks for everything you do, man.
Today's social media segment is brought to you by Alford and Associates for all of your insurance needs. CIS, Cardiovascular Institute of the South, the highest quality cardiovascular care available. Barker Honda, the Barker family tradition of quality.
Bayou Time Sports is brought to you by Terrebonne General Health Systems Community Sports Institute in conjunction with Barker Honda.
I'd like to tell you for HTV, we had the Louisiana line camp. Well, buddy Robert Valdez, now at St. Aug, got some new uniforms on you, man. All them years at St. James, and you went to Grambling. Yeah. Now you're at St. Aug, and so big challenge for you.
Very big. It's the Catholic League. It's Division I. It's the highest level that we have in the state of Louisiana, and it's a great opportunity for me and my family, and I'm just glad to be back home.
We got over 20 young men over here, tell us a little bit about, you saw the growth of this camp throughout the years and how much it has changed now. We see 775 young men out here working, and this isn't a recruiting camp. It's not a pitch and catch camp, okay? Pitch and catch camp, we might have 5,000 guys out here, but this is a line camp. It's differently. My buddy Joe Clark used to always tell me, Mike, linemen, they're the last guys off the bus, right? You know, because they were the last guys on the bus.
Right. I tell you what, it's just it just shows the focus and effort that the state of Louisiana is putting, and the coaches on just improving the quality of line play in the state. You know, we've always had tremendous athletes, and we've had great linemen come, throughout the state of Louisiana. But just to be able to point out the attention to details and the work ethic that needed for the position, and the quality of football is always improving in the state. And to have 775 kids, it's grueling. This is 4 days. This is work. It's, some of these kids, it's June, and so a lot of them may have not been really working that hard yet, but when they come here, they're getting a lot of work and a lot of teaching, and they're hearing different voices, but it's almost basically the same things, so that the minor details are really, really highlighted. So for us, it's fantastic, and for me, I felt that it was very important to get my guys here so they can be part of it.
As a former offensive line coach yourself, it's got to bring a lot of joy to see this, because, okay, the game's changed in a lot of ways, but that part of the game hasn't.
It won't. It will never change. You can't build a house without a solid foundation, and I think that, if we do our job, like I said, now being more into the head coaching part of my life and whatnot, I still gravitate to the big boys and whatnot, but it's what emphasis you put into it. And I think that these guys out here, these kids are embracing the coaching. They're embracing just the importance of the position, because everybody, we don't get it highlighted. The newspaper's never going to say the offensive line won the game, the defensive line saved the victory. But this is as about as intimate situation, a setting for linemen as you're ever going to find in the world. So we get a chance to have our own little getaway for 4 days.
And so using your hands and your arms and using your butt and your lower body, that's emphasized here. A lot of people, a lot of the younger guys, and some of them have asked me, man, I don't want to go up against, I'm a freshman, I don't want to go up against a senior. Well, you're up against a bag here and in between your ears. That's what you're up against.
You're really competing against yourself, and you're challenging yourself. This is not a competition, one-on-one versus type of camp. This is a strictly technique, fundamentals, effort, hands, feet, eyes, enthusiasm, strain type of camp, so that you can put some tools in your toolbox and be able to bring it back to your school. And most of the things, if you can use it, use it. And then you go back to your coach. If your coach isn't here, then now you get a chance to interpret a lot of what he's teaching into what you learn, and it broadens your scope a little bit more. So that's the important thing about it. It's just adding tools to the toolbox and improving the quality of the game.
One of the things, this isn't a recruiting camp. I know that there are young men here, and I was just telling my cameraman they had a young man from Covington that is a big guy. Yeah, this isn't the last stop for him, put it to you that way, on that particular deal. But you got a guy too at St. Aug that's brought a lot of attention to your program.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, Jakeem is a guy that's, I mean, you're 6'7", 280 pounds. I mean, and such
a lot of guys like that.
No, you don't get too many like that. You know what I'm saying? But the good thing about, like I said, he's one of the others, and the other kids, and we take them from the top to the bottom. And so we have a lot of freshmen here. We have a lot of young guys here. We have a lot of guys here that nobody knows about, but again, really, really good work. They're really getting good work, and that's what's exciting.
Growing up, remembering St. Aug and, man, all those championship teams, not only in football, but basketball too. There was such a high elite team at that particular level. Your job now is to get that back to that level.
It is, and that's what's exciting. I think you want to be in a situation, you want to be in a place where there's tremendous expectation. And the one beautiful thing about St. Aug is that our mission statement is to build leaders, and to be the building does a great job of that. And when a young man steps into the halls, he understands the legacy and the things that have been done before them. And like I said, football for us is what we do for fun. It's the reward of what we do for the basic, the sacrifices and the commitment that we have to make for the people that have laid the foundation for us to be here. So yes, the expectations are high, and it's supposed to be when you have that type of opportunity. I mean, we're the beacon for the Catholic Church and the Black communities under the Josephite Brothers in New Orleans, and so therefore our mission is to uphold that, and we don't shy away from it. We don't shy away from it. So hopefully we do a good enough job that we play 6 Saturday games, that we give people a good option to come see some on Saturday.
One of the things, I talked to Burton Burns, and he was like, Mike, next time you see Coach Valdez, tell him this. I know you ain't working them kids as hard as Otis Washington did. Man, he said, man, I was worried about us for a while. Because he said, man, Otis didn't know nothing more than pedal to the metal when he worked you.
I tell you what, saying I wish I could. I wish I could. We not cut from that cloth anymore. Man, I tell you, those guys, there was no such thing as clocks. There was no clock. There was no going home. We're gonna cook here and feed you here and all that. But no, Coach Washington, man, and those guys, and like Darren Dixon's disciplinary was on those teams, and those guys, they've done such a great job of laying the foundation, everything that they had to go through with the inception of the program, and the inception of the school, and all that was going at that time, in America and all that, and to be able to just focus and play football, and to be able to leave a legacy for us, our kids look up to that. I tell people, I always plug the movie Before the West Coast. If you haven't seen Before the West Coast, man, awesome. The St. Aug story, man, it brings me chills, every time I get a chance to see it, that we're going to try to get the whole team to watch at the time, because I don't think our kids know our history, and I don't think our kids know the struggle and the things that we went through. So it's phenomenal, it's awesome, and we don't shy away from what we're here for, and the biggest thing is just to be able to put a disciplined, quality product on the field, and just to represent our community. That would be phenomenal.
Coach, thanks so much for joining us. Always appreciated, man. You're a great part. I know you're in the New Orleans community. You're a great part of this community.
I love it, man. I still love it here, man. Like I said, it's not far away. I still live in Gramercy, so I'm in the middle point. I'm in the midpoint of everywhere I need to be, man. So you're in
the Garden District, like Abraham said. Mike, you live in the Garden District of Lafourche.
I live there. No, man, this is wonderful, man. I tell you what, it was such a blessing for me to, I think God's timing is always impeccable, and my time that I have here, I have so many great friends and so many great memories, and just the steps that he's put me through and all that is just, has allowed me to go different places and all that, but I don't stray away too far.
Thanks so much, Coach. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Appreciate you, man. Thank you.
Thank you.
Power Systems is the area's leading Kohler standby generator solution, specializing in maintenance, repair, and installation on all major brands, from gas to diesel and 2kW to 2000. Home or commercial, our team has you covered. Our factory-certified technicians and installers are highly trained to provide response and repair when you need it the most. We service what we sell, period. Trust the Gen Gators, where we sink our teeth in the service.
Bayou Time Sports is brought to you by Terrebonne General Health Systems Community Sports Institute in conjunction with Barker Honda.
All right, Mike, to tell you for HTV, we had the Louisiana Line Camp. Guy's been here a few years. Mike Stant, Coach, great to see you again.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
How many years you been doing this? Or you don't remember?
I think this is 36 maybe, since 88, 36, yeah.
Yeah, so you've been doing this a while. We talk about this all the time about how the game has changed in some ways, but one thing hasn't changed: offensive, defensive line play. Man, if you don't win in the trenches, you ain't winning nothing.
No. You know, it all comes down to you got to come off the ball. You got to knock people off the ball, and you got to knock people off the ball on both sides of the ball. And this camp teaches you, step, landmark, technique. How to block people, how to get off blocks, just basic fundamentals that we make very, very complicated, but it's very, very simple. And we're very, very blessed to have some of the best coaches really in the country right here in Thibodaux, Louisiana.
The physicality part of the game is still in place, but this isn't a recruiting camp. It isn't people out here trying to say, hey, listen, come to my school, you'll start right away and all this other stuff. And I think really the biggest negative in the portal deal is they passing up high school athletes. I think they take the hit, Mike, more than anybody, because if you have your choice of a guy who's played or got a little experience or a guy who doesn't, you're going to go with the experienced guy.
Right, and that's really tough for high school guys, really, really tough, because you got guys who have put a lot of work in and who are really, really good football players who can help you down the line. Now, it's kind of like, these guys are looking for guys who can help them right now, instead of developing players, developing your program, developing your culture. And I think that's what football is all about. Developing the culture, developing young men to be good citizens and good football players, instead of taking the easy way out and just trying to bring in almost like an NFL free agent.
Yeah, that's all it is. One of the things is, and we grew up in a different era, so to speak. And
Sure.
so, we kind of sound like our grandpas and dads. You ain't as tough. But, okay, you ain't in the Bahamas over here. If you come to this Louisiana line camp, you one tough dude to make it through.
Oh, there's no doubt. There's no doubt. 8 practices in 4 days and 3 practices a day and hard stations, being coached by guys who are expert in their field. And here, if you come here, we guarantee you this. We're going to work on your technique. We're going to work on your mental toughness, and we're going to help you win football games. That's our big thing. So, I remember I was here when, Coach Farrow, Coach Daigle, those guys basically started this camp.
Right.
Pete Jenkins, and Coach Farrow, was always about helping kids get better. And this camp is truly a testament to those 3 men and their commitment to the youth of children of Louisiana.
One of the things that always comes back to, and we have some pro coaches that are here, former pro coaches that are here, former pro players, but I think in Louisiana, guys like you who built the foundation, high school coaches, that's why per capita, this state produces more NFL players than any other state. And you think about this little state of how many kids come out of here.
Right. I think the big thing is just high school football is very important here. Well, sports in general are very, very important. And, it takes it all the way back to, I remember when I was a young child, you get really good coaching on the playground. You get really good junior high coaching, and you get great coaching in high school, great competition. I don't think there's a better place to grow up to play high school football than the state of Louisiana.
Line play is still an art. Learning how to use your arms and your hands, learn how to bend at the knees, not at the waist, the leverage part of the game. And that's something you guys do a great job teaching these young men here.
Well, in the state of Louisiana, if you're not a very good offensive lineman, you're not going to be successful. One of the things that I've always preached, and I didn't make this up, but if your offensive line is not the hardest working group on your football team, you're going to have a long year. And so I've always prided myself, and I work for Coach Kenny Sears at St. Paul's, who's done a fantastic job at St. Paul's for over 30 years. And he believes in this camp, and he believes in offensive line play, and he believes in physicality, and that is why he's been so successful. Just sticking to the basics, working hard every day, working hard to get a little bit better. Like I said, working on your step, your landmark, your punch, all that stuff makes you a better offensive lineman.
Okay, a quarterback cures a lot of ills. If you got a real good one, he can cure a lot of ills. But in today's pitch and catch game, you still got to run the ball when you need to and you have to.
Especially at St. Paul's and every place I've ever been, we believe when we talk about the culture of the program, we talk about the culture of St. Paul's. Number one and number two is we have to run the football and we have to stop the run. If we can run the ball and stop the run, we think we have a great chance of being successful. Now, just like you're saying, if you got a guy behind the center or a guy standing behind him who can fix where you don't have to block everybody, or he can throw and catch, or you got a guy who can run by people, that makes life so much easier. But in today's society, I still believe you got to run the football, you got to stop the run, and you got to do it on a consistent basis to be very successful in high school football. And if you think about the people who have been the most successful, and just because we scrimmage them every year, when John Curtis shows up, I could tell you right now,
they're the gold standard, baby.
They're gonna run the inside, they're gonna run the outside, and you got to stop it. And if you don't have tremendous physicality, it's not going to happen. So that's one of the reasons why we scrimmage them every year, because that's a measuring stick for us on how physical we're going to be, and if we are going to stop the run, or if we're going to run the football. And when we come out of that scrimmage, we know what we have to work on, what we have to do to get better, because they're going to run the football and they're going to stop the run.
We got a lot of great coaches here, but I'll tell everybody, Mike Stant, he's one of the greatest coaches in high school football here in Louisiana.
Look, I'm just happy to be here. I'm just happy to be still coaching. I'm happy to be on this field where I played at Nicholls, and I look forward to coming to this camp every year.
Coach, thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate it, bud. Thank you so much.
Power Systems is the area's leading Kohler standby generator solution, specializing in maintenance, repair, and installation on all major brands, from gas to diesel and 2kW to 2000. Home or commercial, our team has you covered. Our factory-certified technicians and installers are highly trained to provide response and repair when you need it the most. We service what we sell, period. Trust the Gen Gators, where we sink our teeth in the service.